Okay, what's up? Can you hear me?
Hey, yes, sir. Can you hear
Sorry,
me?
I don't know. Something was going on with my computer, so I had to just do it from my phone.
All right, no problem.
All right, so let's get this started here, and all right, all right. This is the King's Court Network, holding court with King Mumbles. What we do here is basically we interview those are in different streams of life that are basically in my realm of interest. So you'll find a lot of battle rappers, hip hoppers, MCs, artists, entrepreneurs. I'm really trying to give them some shine, especially black owned businesses. And just, I don't have a major platform, but I do like to give people the shine that they might not normally be getting. So today we have another hip hop artist, a veteran that's been around. For the people in the audience, please introduce yourself and let them know.
Yeah. Peace. What up, y'all? This is yours truly, S, hip hop MC out of Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, coming at you live on King's Court. Thank you for having me. Just here to talk about me and whatever else comes up in the discussion. So, good evening to
Oh,
everybody.
okay. So I like to usually go pretty much to the beginning. So how long have you been rapping, and how did you get into mu- doing music?
I've been rapping or been dabbling probably since 91. 91 was, I'd say, the first year that I remember actively trying to emulate, some of my favorite artists, favorite MCs. I caught the hip hop bug back in '87. After hearing Run DMC, that was pretty much it for me. That was the catalyst that really had me inspired to, really truly try to get more understanding of this art form that I stumbled across as a youngster, and listening to the KRS Ones of the world, the EPMDs, the Run DMCs, the LLs. Those are some of the artists that sort of piqued my interest in the early goings. And '91, as a high schooler, just messing around with it, just writing, trying to write, studying, playing, buying, spending my lunch money on cassette tapes, you know, absorbing as much of it as I could, with the money that I had as a high schooler. And it just continued. I had a bunch of friends that were into the music, into the same kind of artists. We used to, be in the ciphers and open mic nights, and as years went on, and fast forward to 2007, back in the MySpace days, that was pretty much when I guess I got the confidence to share my music with an audience outside of my immediate circle. So I've been putting out music since '07, and it's been on ever since. Fast forward to 2023, still still putting out music and having fun with it. That's pretty much my story.
Yeah, we're with that timing. We're around the same generation and stuff like that. Like I was telling people like, and it's funny that you said Run DMC because literally like my brother's older records. When I the first time I heard like Run DMC Rock Box, I used to listen to that record like every day, just and stuff like that. It just I don't know, it was something about that that really got to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So how many? Because I do see that a lot of projects actually out and released. How many releases have you actually done?
So I got seven releases out right now, and slowly but surely working on number eight. But yeah, I just released my seventh one just literally last Tuesday. So Driver Driven is out right now, and just plugging away at it. Just having fun with this music thing, and just enjoy the creative aspect, and interacting with new folks like yourself, other artists, DJs, MCs, producers, and just enjoying the creative aspect of sharing what I think is important to me and what I think other people would care about. So
Okay, so in this age, technology a lot easier than back in the day. So um, I think it was your own studio. So do you actually like record yourself, or do you have an engineer, producers? Who do you work like? What's your like process?
well, up until the pandemic, I was doing all my recordings at an engineer studio. Since the pandemic, so probably since 2020, yeah, probably May of 2020. When everything was locked down, and you know public health was sort of trying to urge people to restrict the amount of unnecessary travel that they did. I was sort of at a crossroads. I had a bunch of commitments on the go, and being a parent, a father, I was a little apprehensive. Early
Yeah.
on in the pandemic, with wanting to go out and go to public places and things like that. So I found got on the internet, got a little bit resourceful, and found a way to create my own little home setup, which you've probably seen little pieces of in the background. And
Yeah.
it's weird that it took me this long to do so. I mean, a bunch of my artist friends, had already been doing this for years and years. Being a little bit more self-sufficient with recording and putting out their own music. And I think the pandemic sort of forced me to you know take the bull by the horns and try to take a little bit more control and ownership of what I was trying to do. So you know made a minor investment, and got some equipment, got some software, got a decent little setup and otherwise unoccupied section of my home, and created my own little recording space here. So this is as of mid 2020. This is where I do all my recording. So I track all my vocals here at home, send my vocals out to more capable individuals who can get my stuff mixed and mastered, and this is what I've been doing ever since 2020. So
Okay. Do you record anybody else, or is it just for your own setup?
just for me. I don't think I'm I'm not competent enough at this point to record anybody else. So I think I figured out what works for me at the moment, and I just focus on just doing me for right now.
Okay. So do you like have any label or backing or anything like that, or is
I
that you at
represent
the moment?
myself, independent. I represent myself.
Nice, nice. Um, so what is like your overall like goal? Is it Are you trying to tour and stuff like that? Are you trying to like do this as your career, or just like what is your goal with music?
Well, I think first and foremost, the music thing is therapeutic for me. It's it's my creative outlet. It's my way to release whatever I have inside my head, and keeps me sane. So I think the primary focus of making the music is it's more therapeutic for me. But then the secondary aspect of it is just it's just I consider it my side hustle. I don't have any intentions or aspirations to do this full time. I enjoy being able to be the family man that I am, and then have this beautiful thing on the side to sort of round out my life, complement my life. So yeah, I treat it as I treat it with as much sincerity as let's say a full timer in terms of the art and the craft of it. But as far as wanting to pursue this full time and things like that, nah. I think I'm good with the balance between my regular life, family life, and having this as sort of an extension of me, and making a little side income if I can. If not, it's all good. I'll still keep doing this because I enjoy it.
True, true. I totally understand that there. And what would you say is your style of hip hop or music and whatever?
I like to label what I do as a grown man rap, grown man hip hop. It's hip hop from the perspective of someone with a little bit of life experience, and I like to impart my wisdom, my life from my perspective, life from my vantage point, and share thoughts that I think would resonate with people. They resonate with me. Obviously, it's a style of rhyming that I like to do, and I think what's worked for me, at least what I've observed over the last few years, is my take on certain subject matters seems to resonate with people a certain way. So that's what I like to do. I like to be introspective. I like to touch on social commentary. You know, I just love to express myself, man. I love to, kick, stuff that someone in my age bracket could probably be able to appreciate and relate to. And if people outside of that bracket can relate to it too, that's a bonus. So I like to consider what I do as grown man rap.
I like that. I like that. Seeing how you've been doing this for a while, um, like, well, semi-professionally and just as fun since the '90s. Um, what um, what is a I like to say like what is a lesson that you've learned recently that you wish you knew at the beginning?
I'd say probably just I think just embrace who I am. You can't be everything to everybody. Not
Mhm.
everybody's gonna appreciate or like what I do. I think in my younger years, say, flashback to maybe 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, I think the notion of, trying to be felt by everybody was probably higher on the list of priorities. But as I've gotten older, I've learned that you can't be everything to everybody. You just have to figure out who you are and who you want to be, and be the best version of yourself. And once you figure that out, I think you'll gain more traction. And fortunately for me, I think I've been able to do so in the last few years. And I think people, the people that have gravitated to what I do, appreciate what I do and why I do it and how I do it. So I think that's sort of the motivation to keep going, and receiving acknowledgement from peers, and from people even a few tiers up from me, for what I do and how I do it, is more reinforcement of what I just explained. Just, embracing who I am, embracing my reality, embracing my truth, and sharing that truth with people who can relate to it. So I think the long and short of it is just, yeah, embracing who I am and not being afraid to be myself.
Okay. So, is it just releases? Do you also perform live and stuff? Because I know, especially since the pandemic, that has kind of taken a hit. Live shows there. Are you trying to perform live, or you're just making music to release?
No, no, no. I've been performing live for I mean, ever since, like, yeah, 2011, 2010, 2011. Yeah, I've been performing live. It's kind of dropped off a little bit. I think I was
Mm.
really active from like 2012 up until like 2017, 2018. I was performing, I'd say, one, two shows a month on average. I think in the last few years it sort of dropped off a little bit. I've been a little bit more selective in the shows that I do. But yeah, whenever there's an opportunity that makes sense, yeah, I'm definitely trying to perform. I actually performed just a couple weekends ago, and there's more stuff you know behind the scenes that I'm working on. But yeah, any good opportunity that I get to showcase what I've put out in audio form, I definitely want to share that in a live setting, because yeah, there's nothing that beats the live setting. You can record and put stuff out digitally online, but interacting with people and seeing their reaction and connecting with them in person is always the ultimate goal. So yeah.
True, true. And so I seen you were from Saga,
Yes, sir.
right?
That's where I've been here since '03. Yeah.
Okay. So, where two questions. One, like, where are you from before that? And what is the scene like in Mississauga? Like,
So where
as
am I
it,
from? So I'm
as we look at the,
originally, yeah. So I'm originally from Hamilton, Ontario. Is where I was born. Um, Grew up a bunch of places. Spent a lot of my childhood years in Trinidad. Lived in the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, and I also lived when I was up here. I lived in Guelph. Guelph is sort of where what I would consider home base. Where high school, formative years. Um, Probably when I really got more serious into the music and wanting to do the music thing. So yeah, so I've been in Guelph, and then the last 20 years I've been here in Saga. So as far as the scene goes, I think as far as the scene goes, I think for the most part, any live shows and hip hop that I've experienced in the last I'd say 15 years has probably been a mix of time in Guelph, Hamilton, Toronto, a few shows here and there in Saga. I'd say the scene is a little bit quieter. At least I haven't really tapped into to what the scene has to offer as much
mhm.
as, say, like the Toronto scene. Most of the big shows would come to a Toronto, and most of the artists that I'm friends with or have had relationships with have been in the Toronto area. But yeah, I mean, there's talent everywhere. It's just as far as exposure goes, and actual taking in like hip hop. Yeah, I'd probably say Toronto, Hamilton are probably be the top two in as far as Ontario goes.
Yeah, I seen that. What's it called? You worked with. I was looking at your thing, and I was like, I was so surprised that like we haven't interacted because you've worked with a few people that like I know pretty well. Like I know Merciless,
Yeah, that's my engineer.
and
That's the guy I send all my stuff to.
definitely Merciless is an amazing engineer. Yeah, and stuff.
Yep.
And I've known Dax Flow for years.
Yeah, Dax, what up? What up to my man Dax? Good peoples.
Yeah, and I think I haven't talked to him in a couple of years. I didn't even know that he was still making music, but I just see songs pop up here and there.
Yeah, yeah, he's yeah, he drops stuff every once in a while. I know he put out an EP, I think it was like 2018, maybe 2019, a few years
Yeah,
back, and yeah, he was gracious enough to bless a track on my latest. So shouts out to Dax.
yeah. Shout out Dax. He was always a good guy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, so you said grow your style is grown folk thing. Are you like what do you think of like the modern music? Are you like are there artists that you're into or like you just totally said it's not for you? Because I'll be honest, like unless somebody tells me I have to listen to somebody, they're great. I've accepted that most of this new music is just not for me. Like it's just it wasn't made for me. I don't relate to it.
Yeah, I mean,
So
yeah,
how do
yeah,
you
yeah.
look at the hip hop era now? Like the scene, like in general.
I mean, it depends on. I guess it depends on what lane you're going for. So like, there's artists out there that are newer artists. When I say newer, they haven't been around for like a decade or anything like that. So they're
Yeah.
fairly new as far as being out there in the public eye that make good music, and those are the ones that I appreciate. So folks that have some substance to them. They got an original style. They're not riding the wave of what everyone else is doing. Those artists I can appreciate, even if stylistically we don't align. I can still appreciate and respect what they do, even if it's not something sonically that I'd go for. But I think it'd be unfair to say that all of it's bad. I mean, there are gems here and there, and I like to focus on the stuff that I do like. So a lot of music that I check for are typically indie artists like myself in different cities, different towns, different parts of the world. So I'd say it's hip hop, at least the style that I like. The quote unquote underground hip hop, or you know hip hop rooted in the original hip hop style. There's
Yeah.
tons of it everywhere. Like I can't I can't. There's not enough hours in the day to listen to it all. That's how much of dope material there is out there. So I'd say dope hip hop has never left. It's always been here. We just got to work a little harder nowadays to find it.
True, true. I like that idea there. Um, so who would you say would be some of your biggest influencers?
Biggest influences, for sure. I'd have to say folks like KRS-One. I think his style of rhyming definitely made an impression on me in my younger years. Wanting to get into it. Just from a subject matter standpoint and style standpoint, I think he had the best of both worlds. Being able to come with the aggressive, battle style rhyming, as well as dropping jewels on people. I love that about him, and that's kind of what I want. I made it a point that if I was gonna take 3 to 5 minutes of somebody's time, I wanted to be able to spit something of substance, something that will make people think. And I think, yeah, guys like him, uh, Tribe, the laid back style of Tribe, the jazzy vibes of Tribe, De La, Black Moon, Wu Tang, these are some of the artists that had me excited about, making music. So definitely, it's a mix of a lot of really, really dope artists. I mean, the Slum Village, Leaders of the New School, Black Sheep, Das Effects, you know, Pete Rock and CL, Common. I mean, the list goes on and on. There's a ton of artists that inspired me, and I think they all have one thing in common. They all have something worthwhile to talk about, and they're real fresh with the way they deliver it. So
Okay. Um, what advice would you give, like if you were mentoring a young, like, you know, a 16, 17, 18-year old high school kid who's just he's been rapping on it in the cafeteria like we used to, but he wants to take it, he wants to attempt to take it as a career, or see where he goes. What kind of advice would you give to a new artist?
I give them there's two pieces of advice, two pieces of words of wisdom. I think the first one being definitely study the craft. Learn the greats that came before you. I mean, in order for us to move forward, you have to understand the past. You have to understand where it came from, how we got to where we are right now. So I think as long as someone has some sort of foundational knowledge, I think that's a great start. And then the second piece of advice would be just be yourself. There's a lot of people out here that try to ride the wave or hop on what they think is popular, and they're not their true authentic selves, and as a result, they fizzle out because they don't have any sort of longevity. There's no sort of uniqueness to them. They blend in with what everyone else is doing. So, anybody coming up, just, don't be afraid to be yourself. It's no one can be a better you than you. So be the best version of yourself, and I think you'll have a better chance of standing out.
Okay. So, with your latest project, how long ago did you drop that?
I dropped that literally just last Tuesday. So on Valentine's Day, I dropped it.
Okay. And what would be your standout or favorite tracks on that album? If there was like one or
Favorite
two tracks
track.
that everyone has to watch, listen to, you know, what would those be?
Um, I think I think two of my favorites on the album are there's a track on there called "Complacent," featuring
Mm.
Blueprint, dope MC out of Columbus, Ohio, veteran MC. And then the second one would be a song called "Acknowledgement." So, "Acknowledgement" is basically a song about just the the obstacles that an artist faces. We put in that work, at least the ones that are they're go-getters. They put in that work, and for the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that we put into this, every once in a while, we like to be acknowledged for the efforts that we put in, and that's basically what the song is about. Sometimes artists put in a lot of work, they get slept on, only for them to be acknowledged after somebody else acknowledges them. And I mean, there's multiple examples that you can point out. Artists that were doing their thing here in Canada and got
Hmm.
no love. They move south to the border, get a cosign from somebody big, and then all of a sudden, people up here trying to claim them. So that's so an example of sort of what I was getting at in that song. So yeah, I think that song resonated when I was putting it together, because I could see a lot of parallels between what I just mentioned, and I've seen a little bit with myself on a smaller scale. Like I'm not a big name artist or anything, at least not yet. But I've been fortunate. I've been able to get a few bigger names to acknowledge what I'm doing, and that's definitely helped with as far as credibility, if you want to call it that. Even though I've been here for years, putting in the same amount of work, plugging away at it. But it seems as though after certain individuals take notice, all of a sudden more people want to acknowledge after the fact, which is it is what it is. But I find it's kind of funny at the same time. So,
It's,
and
you know,
compl-
a lot of
complacent.
people are sheep.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know why it is. I don't know why people need to be told something's dope when they can listen to it and judge it for themselves. But
Mm.
yeah, it is what it is. And the first song that I mentioned, "Complacent," is also a song that I hold dear, only because um, it was inspired by a really dope podcast um, uh, episode that I watched. Episode of a podcast called "Super Duty Tough Work" by Blueprint, the artist that's featured on the song. And the episode was about not getting too comfortable. You accomplish things, and you just have to remind yourself that it doesn't end there. You gotta put your foot on, keep your foot on the gas, and don't allow a milestone or a victory to sort of derail you from keeping your eyes on the prize and pushing forward. So yeah.
Okay, so one of the questions I wanted to know, explain the your name, the rap name.
So my rap
I see
name
like
is S.
hmm?
S. It's just a short form of my government name. So yeah,
Okay.
I've had that since grade school. People had a tough time pronouncing the name. I have a West African government name, which people had a tough time pronouncing.
Okay.
In my younger years. So they'd shorten it, and it just name kind of stuck. So decided why rather than reinvent myself, I just go with the name that I've had ever since I was like 5, 6 years old, and that's my rap name. It's not your prototypical rap name, but it's a name that works for me.
That's the thing. As long as it works for you. So what's the tie-in with that monster thing that I see with the name?
Oh yeah, so
Like
HG
monster?
Monster. So yeah,
Yeah.
so there's a rap group that I used to be a part of back in 2010, 2011, called Homegrown Monsters, and we called
Oh,
ourselves HG Monsters for short. Yeah, we put out an album, put out a mixtape back in 2010, 2011, and we've since sort of disbanded, gone our separate ways, but still cool. We're still cool with each other. But yeah, back then I was S, so S from Homegrown Monsters.
mm,
So I just decided to use HG Monster S as my handle, and that's the handle I use on all the streaming platforms, all the social media platforms. So shouts out
what
to
do you
Homegrown. Shouts
feel
out to
like?
Homegrown.
What do you feel about like the social media and how it's affected music, and how do you like? Do you use social media a lot, or are you like one of the people that just try to avoid social media? How does that affect your career?
See, I use social media. I'd say I use it pretty heavily. I think social media is a gift and a curse. I mean, if you take it too seriously, I think it can mess with your mental health. I mean, there's a lot of toxicity on there. That's a given. There's a lot of different
Yeah.
personalities out there. A lot of poison, misinformation. I mean, there's a lot of craziness out there, and if you allow yourself to internalize it too much, it can mess with you. So I use social media just as a way to network and promote what I'm doing musically, and go friends, do that. That's how I find new music, find new artists, find new producers. So I I, I sort of use it in that facet. I don't I try not to really take stuff to heart. too much. It's funny you asked that question. Literally back in 2019, I put out an album called Social Media Volume One, inspired by my timeline. I was inspired by a lot of what I was seeing on social media, the different interactions of people, the different social dynamics. And, I actually created a full project just based on some of these observations that I've seen online. And, it's funny. It's an interesting thing. And I think it's one of those things that we can use to our benefit if used properly. But at the same time, if not, you can definitely mess with your mental health. And I've seen it. I've seen examples of people just, allowing it to get to them and it messing with them, and, them having to, you know, take themselves away from it just to sort of, get their minds right again. So social media is an interesting monster, that's for sure.
It's because it's kind of the real world because we're supposedly dealing with real, but in all honesty, most of these people you don't really know. You don't know how real they are. Like I know people
Yeah,
that go on social media, like literally tell me they just make up characters to be
yeah,
and go online and be that. So you don't
yep,
know exactly how real it is. So you got to be careful.
absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely. There's a lot of wackos out there, that's for sure.
so a few more questions here. So what in being a rapper, what would you say is your favorite thing about doing music and your least favorite thing?
Favorite thing, I think just the creative aspect, creating with dope individuals, dope producers, dope MCs. Yeah, creation of the music, creation of the art is the fun part. The part that's least that I like the least is just sifting through the BS. I mean, there's a lot of opportunists and scammers out there, and to the point you made just now about just a lot of people that put on fake facades and wear masks online. You don't know who's who. You don't know who's telling the truth, who's being their authentic self, and who isn't. That's a tough part of it. It's tough to not cast people under the same umbrella. Especially if you've been burnt in the past, you sort of keep your guard up and you don't know who to trust, and it's unfortunate. You should be able to you know interact and have some level of trust of with people that you're interacting with. But I mean, it's the internet. You never know what people's ulterior motives are. So I think that's probably one of the downsides of it. You want to connect with people and build relationships, but sometimes there are people out there that you really don't want to build relationships with because they have bad intentions. So
Okay. And so, what do you have coming up? Like, I know you just dropped that project. So, is there like events to promote it, performances, or music video coming out, or like what type of events do we have coming up for you that the audience can look forward to?
so I dropped my first music video for the album. Actually, I released it on release day, album release day. It's a video that's out right now on YouTube. It's called "In the Driver's Seat." It's one of the joints on the album. That's it's been out for a little under about a week now, and still well. I mean, the feedback's been pretty good so far. So definitely look out for that or check it out if you have it. It's on my
We'll,
YouTube
we'll
channel.
definitely, we'll definitely
Yeah,
give it a push on the site and everything there
right.
in the
And
driver's
yeah,
seat.
just trying to do as many live shows as possible to get the word out, and just working out on the promo. Just getting with the different podcasts and college radio and the different outlets to get the material out there to as many ears as possible. And so far so good. I've been very appreciative of the support. The folks that have supported with the physical copies, so the CDs. I've got vinyl that's on its way. It should be touching down in a few weeks for anybody that's a collector of vinyl. A driver driven is going to be dropping on vinyl pretty soon. It's already out on CD, and obviously it's out on in digital form on Bandcamp, as well as all the streaming platforms. So yeah, just doing the promo thing, and continuing on the side, and in the background, working on some of the material in the background. And
So purchase? How would they purchase the CD or the vinyl if they wanted the physical copy?
yeah, so you could go to my Bandcamp page. So that's smusic.bandcamp.com. So that's ESMUZIK.bandcamp.com. You'll be able to find everything you're looking for, from this album to my back catalog. Got a bunch of bundle deals on there for anyone that wants to get caught up on my catalog. I've got vinyl bundles, CD bundles. So definitely check out any of my social media pages. Same handle at HGMonsteres, so HG Monster S, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And you'll be able to find links which will lead you to my Bandcamp to be able to get any of my physical products. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming through. I might play some track or two for them after the interview. I do appreciate it and stuff, because, as I said, I've seen some of your posts through Instagram and Facebook and whatever, and I'll be honest, because like I took some time off, but I've done music too and stuff. I've I've always seen your thing, and I was wondering how we haven't interacted. I was just it seems so many close circles, and I'm I don't know, and stuff. So and you seem, as I said, from my generation style of music that I would be into,
Right.
so
Hey,
when you agreed,
it
I
happens,
definitely
man.
want.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah.
There's a lot of artists that are doing things, posting, putting out music. Sometimes it's just you just there's not enough hours in the day to get to it all. So I mean, there's artists that I've seen from afar, and I've clicked the link here and there, but really haven't had enough time to really go in depth on their catalogs or what they're doing. So it's understandable. There's a lot of quality out there. So it's just, yeah, sometimes there's just not enough
One more
hours in the
question,
day.
because you said you've been getting bigger. Who are some? Give me two or three. Who are some of your like? I wouldn't not dream where it can't happen. Who are some of your goal collabos that you would love to get on your on a project?
Well, I mean, fortunately for me, I've had a few of them already. On my last album that I dropped last year, 2022, I was able to get Elzhi on a track, which was pretty cool. That was a milestone moment for me. Him being one of my top 5 personal favorite MCs. So to have him on a track, I think it came out pretty dope. Feedback on it was pretty dope. So if anybody's not familiar with it, it's a track on my last album called "You Want a Piece of Me." The joint was called "Attack," featuring Elzhi. And this project, Complacent featuring Blueprint was another milestone, collabo that I've done. So yeah, there's a few others that I have sights set on. Hopefully, in due time, I'll be able to make those collaborations happen. But I think one definitely a couple on my bucket list would be Master Ace. I definitely want to work with him. He's also another one of my top MCs, and Fonte. Fonte would be another one. So we'll see. We'll see. Can't guarantee anything, but we'll see. If it's meant to be, it'll
Long as
happen.
you go for it. Like it can happen. Like
Yeah.
that'd be cool. Okay, so you'll definitely have the links to the album, your link tree, all the social media, the music video, as well. Probably in a couple of days. I also chop up the videos into smaller segments to post on like Instagram and TikTok and whatnot. So anything that I do post, I'll definitely send you a link. And if there's anything that you don't want, like you don't like, look, let me know and I'll take it down. But we'll definitely try to, hopefully, you know, get you one or two more sales out there and have somebody that didn't know you before learn about you.
I appreciate that. Thank you for having me on your platform. Appreciate that.
No problem. All right. Thank you very much. And you have yourself a good day. This is S. You know what I'm saying, y'all? Make sure y'all check out his social media. Make sure y'all go to his Bandcamp, buy his stuff, download, stream, all of that. If you listen to the radio, request it. And all right, so I'll holler at you later.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, so we're gonna play a little song before we go. AUX. Let's hear some of that with Elzhi. Let me know what y'all think. Yeah. I attack you great. Like a mighty great sword. This is the attack. J.Pal. Yeah. I let the beat speak, then it's time to eat it. I don't give a fuck. I tear it apart and start feasting. Lay on the street from afar, making a move. Circle a plot about to make my food. I didn't focus brain, we call that. Rolling survival of the fittest with refunds, we'll make it back. With J.Pal on the track, one S on the attack with the heart of a lion. The sales best moving back, tracks with free. Hunger from within this living grip. Resonating MP3 on my frisbee. Welcome my cherry trial of the beast. The sunset is in the west and one drive in the east. The fluence cloud of OGs and all the heads from whom I have a date. Scooping the week in a bunch is when I salivate. My feet, my neck fails, boom, storms like a same place. The cops on the track without any cause to take a face. Hard to hit a rhythm like this, so let it play the race. Thrill of the hunter, refusal to do a wasted chase. Allowed in the tank, make the most of my creative space. A metaphor for capitalizing on this instant. Whether I'm right, say it, it's all reinforced. You get one chance to make the first impression of yourself, so I took it on the track, I'm ready to trap, capture my break on the track, and Jermaine's clear with the bounce. It's like me
eat them down to the bone. Only eat it when I know that the season's on. Carnival, devour the beat like medieval times. No manners when it comes to these rugged beats of rhymes. Survivor out of the wild, exposed to these elements, rain and shine. My hunger leaves carnage remnants. I believe the beast hunger because I gotta eat. Drunk first blood, repeat the cycle the following week. All about the approach is simple mathematics. Strength in numbers, each skill rate above average. Before the attack, gotta come with a game plan. Concept before you put the pen and script on a page, fam. Who's the target market? Define the demographic. Let's use a slower animals. You have a better chance at exposed to like the hate you run a gas. Work smarter, not harder. Your results will be trash. Catch them off guard with a creative approach. Read the room, and once you catch them sleeping, go for the throat. If they take and protect their neck, then you got them. This is the reason why successful predators remain plotting. Metaphors of overseas night and day who stay jotting, keeping up pen sharp, rhyming beats like Lion State Trotter. No holds lost out, take your prisoners, avoid the attack, and still cool. Bosses be listening, huh? I got the iron tiger in my female land and catch me out, me growl. I see how grand I am. Blunt, strapped around female strand. I freestyle a hung jury. That's a retrial plan for next year. They lowered the apex here and played on me like a rug in the moss. You better off and struggling the moss, bird pump, plotting to kill an apparition. The ghost of another rapper missing. He was like the wrist and not give you that position. Cause he's somewhere on the map where he red snapper fishing. The jaws is waiting, who will challenge my claw? They even got outlaws, draws, baby, bird hand. For the star, bars from the surge lane. Trading to say that I'm cold in these lanes. Work, think I'm nice before me. I bring the house down so the roof falls with every wall between. What would you say is?
All right, we're gonna play one more tune and then we'll have you.
That your kids. The irony is this homie boosting my creative juice. Never knew where to hide, knew what I say is truth. Killing
His latest single.
Otherwise, trying to climb up for my quest for the top. Yo, been on the road, have this pen feeling warm. Got a few projects on the go to release to the swarm. Stepping out the realm of complacency, so easy to stall. I don't feel spot for too long, you start feeling the fall. Man, I'm guilty to a fault. Easy to make excuses under the guise of that town to bring things to a halt. Creative, writing a board, mental block of my thoughts, mental picking lines, strike, writing rhymes, filling force, confidence lacking in source to get me back on the course. No one else to blame but myself, like that's my fault. The ball is back in my court, I gotta figure it out. Some good is playing pain for too long and I'm sick of it now. Too complacent of my last release was a masterpiece. Feeling myself, I felt my pen and pad. I had to breathe during that time off. I lost it in a trial, now I stare in the mirror of a man that I no longer recognize. Placed it off my last release, it was a masterpiece. Feeling myself, I felt my pen and pad. I had to breathe during that time off. I lost it in a trial, now I stare in the mirror of a man that I no longer recognize. You change something, celebrate. You get something, truly be appreciative of everything that you have, everything you receive, the hard work that you put in. But whatever is satisfying, the moment you get satisfied, is to say, I got it, that's it. Yeah, I achieved my goals. I got good. Yeah. Put the pedal to the metal, this is my MO. Now I deal with the repercussions of when you try to settle. the coast. Cruise control, right? Best orals. Complacency, I have been written like some florals. The first hurdle is rising to reach a plateau. The second hurdle is maintaining that level flat slope. And if you're that dope, the slope stays on an incline. Upwards, never headed on a decline. Yo, it's human nature to fast. And what's achievements, the key is understanding what happens after that event. The yearning and the holding of bootstrap is everlasting. And I realize it now. I took this here passion for granted. Uphill climb off my head is getting back to gate form. Bench pressing in the lab, getting my pen game strong. Reinvigorating the hunger for music that had me high. Keep creating regardless of who to what, where's, and why. Complacent off the last release. It was a masterpiece. Feeling myself, I bet my pen and pad had to breathe. Driven on time off, I lost the red drive. I was staring in the mirror of a man that I no longer recognize. Complacent off the last release. It was a masterpiece. Feeling myself, I bet my pen and pad had to breathe. Driven on time off, I lost the red drive. I was staring in the mirror of a man that I no longer recognize. Not as hungry as I just chilling for you. You won't see me in years. You all confused of that. And then something mysteriously happens and wakes you up and you're like, damn, I've been chilling for it's been 6 months. I ain't a beat, I ain't around. They say you learn more from failure than you do success. Only adversity can really put you to the test. How to move through the stress, how to do more with less. They were sleeping on you, but you wouldn't rest. Every time you want to race, you will lose a step. Trying to push the pace, but all you want to do is rest. While they you continue to impress, you continue to endeavor, coast and do your best. Yes, a foolish man gets drunken from his victories. A wise man gets sobered by his losses. The side effect of being trapped in complacency and ever understanding what the true cause is. You gotta live enough to maintain your hunger, but not lose so much that they start to get discouraged. After the victor becomes the real danger, despite enough complacency, that takes courage like that.
All right, thank y'all. We're gonna be doing more interviews. Message me, let me know who you think I should interview or tag them in here. Thursday at 9 o'clock, we are doing Battle Royal TV. We're gonna have a few people, hopefully some guests coming through. I'm going to be just going over some battles that are happening. We've got the state memorial for the late great Patch Day, rest in peace. Chrome 23 got an event, and we'll just be talking about what's going on in the battle rap. Shout out to your boy, King's Court Network. Check me out on all social media. Look me up. I'm there. Thank y'all. And don't forget to check out S, and we will be having his information on here. Have a great one.